May the grace of Almighty God, the love of Christ our blessed Redeemer, the fellowship of the Holy Spirit rest and abide with you now and forevermore. Amen and amen.
The best wishes to you and yours on this glorious holiday season. I'm making this tape to update you on the current events and also to wish my condolences on the passing of Franklin. We want you to know that all my family's thoughts and prayers are with you this holiday season, as it'll be your first season without Franklin. But he is with us every day in spirit and in our thoughts and in our minds. I admire your courage in keeping up the fight. And now it's time to update you on the happenings in the courts down here, and also to congratulate you on your TV show being aired on DC TV. So I'm just making a short tape for you, and our prayers are with you. Keep up the fight. Love, George McDermott. I know how you don't like computers, Glendora, but this is the only way I could convey to you what's up. Just thought I'd show you that you are now on the World Wide Web, and you can go to your local library and see that a chat with Glendora is now posted on my website. Yes, Glendora, this is my website. I don't know if you can read what's on it since you don't have a computer. I'm going to set it up here for a minute. Okay. But as you can see, the flyer that I made up for you is prominently displayed on my website with all the times of the telecast of your show. This is the back side of the flyer. Okay, excuse Mike. I have a meeting tomorrow night with Acorn. You see the symbols on the back of the truck. Supposed to be 2 congressmen and 3 members of the Maryland delegate meeting at the Acorn office tomorrow, so I'll keep you updated on that. Okay? This is my Prince George's County Courthouse. Yep. Can't imagine why I'm upset, can you? As you can see, none of my icons work for connections and links. I was hoping to let you see my new campaign site, but apparently somebody has tampered with it, and I can't gain access to it from this computer, so I have to go to the library and try to see what I can do. But there's something definitely wrong. Glendora, I figured I would do this just so your audience would know the extent of how many times you have been denied access to the courts of the United States. Each and every one of these, including 100 or so other ones that I have already received, is a filing in a various U.S. court. Each and every one of these courts has denied you access to the courts of this nation. If they aren't frightened about this, they should be. You are fighting for their rights and their liberties. Before you are the videotapes that I have received. Not quite all of them. There's probably another 20 of them in the box. It shows that you have exposed these injustices on film to the nation. What are we fighting for? We're fighting for our children and our grandchildren. The stack in front of you of tapes consists of 38 hours of hearings at the Senate Judiciary Committee in November of 2003, in which each and every senator stood up and said that due process of the law is important, the rule of law must rule, and that denial of due process rights is unacceptable, that everybody should be afforded a trial in the courts of the United States. If that is the case, how come virtually every court in the United States has refused to allow Glendora to seek relief for judgments against cable access providers who she was awarded in 1995? Even though you win a judgment in the courts of the United States, when you're going against a corporation, you can bet that the courts will protect them. They could care less about our citizens, their families, and their civil rights. Corporations and their officers are given unquestionable relief in our courts, no matter how egregious their conduct is or that of their attorneys. Each and every citizen watching the Glendora show should be outraged that the courts will go to such an extent to destroy elderly citizens rights to equal access to the courts. I myself have assembled 79 cases and 1,900 docket entries trying to have $2.5 million worth of illegal judgments removed from my house. Dr. Pollock, Elizabeth Pollock, who has championed the cause of equal access to the courts, is now barred from entering in federal courts in the state of Maryland under penalty of arrest. Is this the legacy we're going to hand down to our children? If it is, we are in deep trouble. This will be all for right now. I'm going to take some shots of the individual court cases so that people can understand the extent of the fight that you're up against. And then I'm going over to Baltimore to deliver to Judge Garbus's chambers a TV schedule showing that you are not going to surrender to his tyranny. God bless and have a good day. In case any of your viewers don't understand what the rule of law is, it's the code of laws of the United States of America. This is my collection of them. It's a 1994 edition, has been changed very little. But it spells out in specificity what the laws of this nation are in the conduct of our officers and agents. This is the real rule of law right here. All of our laws are patterned after this one. The Holy Bible. Thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not give false statements. Yes, these are all the laws that our nation has passed against. This is the United States Bankruptcy Code, which our courts have made a joke of. Nobody follows these laws. Nobody follows these rules. This is the references. Do you believe that these courts are acting in concurrence with the Constitution of this nation by failing to give our citizens access to these? Glendora has every right to relief and remedy for the wrongs done to her. Everybody knows that. The Supreme Court knows it. Determine the damages for economic damages. Ethics in all these laws. All of these laws support Glendora. None of them support the criminal conduct of the judicial officers who are keeping her from the courts of this nation and supporting the misconduct. Worst of all, the Fourth Circuit local rules. This court has become so arrogant that it believes the judges have the right to modify the Constitution to prohibit our citizens from obtaining a fair trial and allowing them to put in evidence. Yes, we have a very big problem. And Glendora, you are absolutely a champion for the Constitution of this nation. But think for a minute. Are all these laws irrelevant? No. If so, we have a much greater problem in this country than we believe. Are all these books full of unsupportive statements. These are the same laws found in the court libraries. These are the same books. They're absolute proof of the laws of this nation. These are the tax codes. I have copies of all these documents. That they have no jurisdiction to grant relief to a citizen for violation of her civil rights under color of law. Well, these books say different, and the 38 hours of taped Senate hearings proves that the Constitution still must prevail, and that everybody has a fundamental right to due process of the law, and no judge is going to take Glendora's rights without a fight. Glendora has asked various courts for assistance, and each one has denied her that right. The United States District Court for the Southern District of Mississippi denied access to courts. United States District Court Atlanta, Georgia, reporting massive fraud, denied. United States District Court for the Southern District of Mississippi, order denying relief. No hearing, no judgment, no nothing. United States Court of Appeals for the Fourth Circuit, complaint on judicial disability and misconduct against Judge Marvin Garbus and Benson Legg, denied. No hearing, no motions, no answers. Judicial Council for the 10th Circuit, order dismissing all relief. No answers were ever filed. Clerk of the United States Court of Appeals for Richmond, Virginia, receipt of official complaint. In the matter of judicial complaint, that was also denied. United States Court of Appeals for the Fifth Circuit, also dismissed without the first pleadings being filed by opponents. United States District Court in Baltimore, Maryland. These judges do not even realize that they're being sued for misconduct against the Constitution. Marvin Garbus once again. Request for Glendora to the House and Senate Judiciary Committees. That's a joke. They could care less about the court system as long as they appoint some judges favorable to them. Court of Appeals for the Fourth Circuit in Richmond, Glendora versus Dennis Jacobs et al. I like the caption on this, bad faith. Absolutely, she's never been allowed to have the merits of her case trialed anywhere. This is a lady who, United States District Court for the Southern District of Mississippi, This is a pattern of misconduct that's being covered up all over the country, folks. This lady is just trying to get her day in court and trying to get the relief that she was sought. United States Court of Appeals for District of Columbia. Paul L. Friedman. Well, don't think that Glendora is just filing these complaints. All she wants is her day in court. United States District Court for the District of Montana. She's allowed to file civil rights complaints in any court in the nation. Maybe she would be better off filing it in Russia somewhere, because their courts are probably better. A complaint to the Fourth Circuit relating to judicial misconduct. Dismissed. No answer filed. No explanation. Judges covering up for judges. Happens every day. United States District Court for the District of Columbia against Jackie Sellers and Nance. Dismissed. No answer. No opposition. No nothing. United States Court of Appeals for the Fourth Circuit in the matter of judicial complaint. One more, thrown in the trash. In the United States Court of Appeals for the First Circuit. Once again, no answer, no complaint, no relief sought from opposing parties. Judges dismissed it on their own. If this is a pattern of misconduct, United States Supreme Court for the state of New York. She's not even allowed to go into the state courts, just as Dr. Pollock is not allowed to go into Maryland courts. She's not allowed to file anything under penalty of prosecution. The United States Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia. Paul L. Friedman. Once again, the complaint got nowhere. She's pro se. She's not allowed to file anything in the courts. They're automatically dismissed. Order of the Judicial Circuit for Kentucky, the 6th Judicial Circuit, dismissing relief complained. Once again, no hearing, nothing. But they're forgetting that each and every one of these documents is kept in the National Archives. They prove that a defense has been raised by Glendora. Judicial Council for the 10th Circuit, asking for a complaint and investigation into denial of due process rights. United States District Court for the District of Maryland, Marvin J. Garbus. He protected everybody once again. No relief, everything was dismissed before answers were even filed. United States District Court for the Southern District of Mississippi. Again, we have another complaint. Dismissed before answers were even filed. Responses given. The United States District Court for Bangor, Maine. Once again, same people. Paul L. Friedman, Constitution Avenue, Northwest Washington, D.C. Complaint was dismissed before an answer could be filed or any response given. These judges have no response whatsoever. They don't even recognize that they're being sued in the courts. They won't. United States Court of Appeals for the Fourth Circuit. In reference to your judicial conduct, a copy of the Fourth Circuit Judicial Council's denying your motions. The judges never responded. United States Court of Appeals for the Fifth Circuit. Yes, complaint against judicial misconduct and disability because the judges refused to follow the Constitution of this nation. District Court for the District of Ohio against Cablevision. Once again, no notices were filed, no responses given. Judge dismissed it sua sponte. United States Second Circuit. Show cause. What a joke this is. Victims are double victimized by the courts. No hearing, no opportunity to defend, no nothing. United States District Court for District of Maine, Portland, Glendora. Once again, Paul L. Friedman, Cablevision. Didn't have to worry about responding. He knew that the judges would throw it out before it ever got over the desk. United States Court of Appeals for the Fifth Circuit, Glendora versus Roberts. Once again, dismissed before any opposition was filed by the opponents. Any responses just never gets across the desk of the clerk. United States Court of Appeals for the First Circuit. Appellant's brief. This is how pro se appellants have to file our briefs. You know, we're not allowed to file full briefs like normal citizens. We're not allowed the benefits of getting all the evidence in. The courts impose special local rules that deny us access to the courts. What a joke. Complaint against to the United States Congress against Carol Ammons, U.S. District Judge. Once again, these things are thrown in the trash. Our congressmen and our senators are more worried about protecting corporations than they are about protecting the citizens of this nation. United States District Court for the Eastern District of New York. Okay. Brooklyn Community Access TV. It all comes down to one thing. She's trying her very best to get access to the provide First Amendment access rights under Title 42 to all the citizens of this nation, so that we don't wind up as a nation where a half a dozen TV stations control all the media, which is the case that we're having right now. So, yes, she's fighting a good fight, and Glendora should be given her opportunity to bring these things out in court and get them resolved. United States Brooklyn. This is her second answer in the Brooklyn courts. However, community access doesn't even respond before the judges let it get away. What a joke this is. Yes. We have a serious problem in this nation. I am forwarding to Dr. Pollack this 11-page report to the Fourth Circuit Court of Appeals opposing the implementation of new local rules against our pro se citizens. I am going to ask Glendora if she will read this complaint this response on the air. Every citizen in this nation has an interest in making sure that the courts of this nation don't make laws that circumvent the rights and liberties that are afforded to us under the Constitution. If you do not agree with that, then you are absolutely watching the wrong show. Here is Dr. Pollock's response to the Fourth Circuit's unconstitutional acts. Comments injected to the final version of fee increases as applied to pro se litigants in fee-pay cases. I'll ask that Glendora read this to everyone on the TV. What they're trying to do now is they're trying to, since they've virtually destroyed the rights of pro se litigants to represent themselves, now they're trying to price us out of the court where the average victim cannot even afford to, once they've been victimized, they still can't afford to pay the exorbitant court fees that the courts are imposing on our citizens. What an absolute joke this is. I am now going to play a short segment of the 38 hours of videotapes that Senate hearings showing the intent of Congress and the intent of the U.S. Senate. So, God bless and have a good day.
Again, another area that deserves the attention of this body. Mr. President, these are the crises. These are the real crises that face America, not a 98% approval of conservative Republican judges, which this body has done. This president has been served very well by the United States Senate on the timely approval of 98% of these judicial nominations. And I'd submit that the 4 that have been rejected were selected with the thought in mind that they would be rejected. Because what the other side of the body here wants, and I think what the president wants, is a fight. They know that a fight will energize the radical right wing of the Republican Party. It will energize political contributions. And Mr. President, sadly, that's what this debate is all about. That's why the taxpayers are having to fund $100,000 or more for the cost of this. That is why we are not able to get on to the other issues that truly we ought to be addressing right now. 168 conservative Republican judges have already been approved, most with my support. That is not the question. The federal bench has a higher ratio of judges seated now than we've had in 13 years. The appellate judges are being approved at a faster rate than Clinton, Reagan, or George Bush Sr. And so, the record of this body, Republican and Democrat on the Judiciary Committee, has been one of accelerated consideration of judges in a way that hasn't been seen in many, many years. I think that reflects well on the body. What does not reflect well on this United States Senate is the hijacking that has taken place of our agenda, where we're being prevented from talking about the real issues, the real crises having to do with our children, having to do with our schools, having to do with our seniors, having to do with our veterans, having to do with health care costs. That's been hijacked. by a body that wants to talk about these 4 judges who were selected, I think, by a process where the president and the leadership of the other side knew very well that these would be lightning rod candidates, that they do not fall within the same mainstream body as the other 168 conservative Republican judges. And that's led to this dispute. And the dispute, I think, is not about principle. It's about energizing politics. It's about raising money. That's a sad commentary. That's contrary to the values of this body, of the American people, Republican and Democrat. The American people deserve better than what has gone on the floor of this Senate over these last many hours. We're going to see the rest of today wasted as well. And Mr. President, I yield the floor.
Mr. President.
Senator from Kansas.
Mr. President, thank you very much for the recognition. And I find some of this pretty amusing at 6 in the morning. We spent all Monday
Am I going to be here?
With the assistant minority leader talking about Searchlight, Nevada, reading a book about Searchlight, Nevada. Now, I'm sure it's a great place. I've not been there, but I'm sure it's wonderful. But he used the whole day to talk about that, and then we hear endlessly about, well, why aren't we talking about veterans benefits, or why aren't we talking about unemployment, or these other things, when all Monday was used by...
Than they were 50 years ago, 60 years ago. Is that what the senator from Kansas is saying?
It is what I'm saying, and it is bad that I am pursuing this, or that we are seeing this route taking place, because this is going to lead us down a bad road, and we're already started down this road, because now you appoint legislators for life with superpowers, unable to throw those powers out, or you can't pull them out other than maybe for moral turpitude that you could actually pull them out. And so you've got these people that become, in essence, I mean, if they're not super legislators, they can almost be dictatorial or tyrannical in their position, and they're appointed for life. And that's what so many people are passionate about, what takes place on the bench today, because now you've got a super legislator that doesn't answer to the public. And it starts to get real irritating to a lot of people. And this is not the way we should be going. This is not the way we should be going. We should be backing up and saying, oh, wait a minute, these are 3 co-equal branches of government with different jobs. Different jobs. Not legislators each, but you've got a legislative, an executive, and a judicial branch. And this is the problem, because if we keep going down this trail, and you've got to examine political philosophy, because judges can write laws, or you can discover new rights, you can discover right to privacy. If you can discover a right to privacy in the Constitution, write it in as a judge yourself. What other rights can you discover in the Constitution? And it's going to be very important, the political philosophy of that person. Let's say we get 1 or 2 Supreme Court nominees that come up. Oh, now we've got somebody that we're looking at, a super legislator for life in the highest court of the land that can, with a couple of other people, rewrite this document, not just legislate, but rewrite the constitutional document. And that's why you would have these huge fights here on this floor. When we used to say in the past, thanks to the question that my colleague raised, we used to say in the past, well, you know, I disagree with the philosophy of a Breyer. I disagree with the philosophy of Ruth Bader Ginsburg. I disagree with the philosophy of somebody else, but they said they would uphold the law. They're confined, as I am as a legislator, of what set of powers and authorities I have. I'm confined within this. You know, I don't agree with them philosophically, but they're qualified. They're going to do a good job. I don't have a real good reason to vote against them.
Senator, we get your question. Pennsylvania. Just a question, and this is really, it gets to the heart of this 168-4 number, because the vast majority of the 168 are district court level, which are trial court level. And what the senator from Kansas, I believe, is saying, and I think just want to make it clear, is that district court judges, by and large, don't make law. They're trying cases. Appellate court judges, we have seen now in recent years, have begun to take on the mantle of legislator in making law. And therefore, all of the nominees that are being blocked on that side are these quasi-legislative type judges. What you're suggesting is the super legislator is the Supreme Court. And so if we are in for filibusters for appellate court, can you imagine what a Supreme Court nominee fight will look like on the floor of the Senate now versus what it was like 20, 30 years ago?
Absolutely, and that's the point. You're going to be in such a mammoth fight in engaging the entire country with this that you're going to, I mean, how are you ever going to get that person through? And it does go to this constitutional case that's being considered by the Supreme Court now on the flag salute, one nation under God. Here was a continuation of a discovered set of laws that somehow discovered that our children can't say the flag salute because it's one nation under God, that 90% plus of the public is for the flag salute. I'm quite confident it's ahead of that when this body raised such outrage, and yet the Ninth Circuit, in a consistent opinion with 40 years of discovering law, says, no, you can't do that. So now you put somebody in a legislative role, circuit court, lifetime appointment, can't remove them, Ninth Circuit. Ninth Circuit gets overturned all the time. I mean, as a group of legislators, they get overturned all the time by the Supreme Court. But now let's say you get a Supreme Court position that opens up. They're not going to get overturned by anybody. And you get people very fearful of the tyranny of a judiciary, which the Founding Fathers were fearful of themselves. Now, they were saying of all the branches of government, they wanted the judiciary to be the most limited because they had these lifetime appointments. They had a pretty big set of powers, and they feared that tyranny coming from the judiciary because it was a lifetime appointment. It was something that wasn't subject back to the people and the checks and balances of the people. People check and balance the president. People check and balance me. People check and balance everybody that are in this body. But do they the judiciary? Where's the populace's check and balance here? And that's why this is an important debate, and that's why so many people are concerned about it. I say what we should be doing is backing up and saying, no, this is about the strict construction of the documents that pass through legislative bodies that are in the Constitution, that go through an extraordinary process, where as you aptly pointed out, the senator from Pennsylvania, the Supreme Court discovers a new right in this Constitution. If we had written that in there, it would have taken a vote of 2/3 of these bodies, 3/4 of the states to become law. I mean, this is a big, lengthy process, and as such, we've had a limited number of constitutional amendments, as it should be. Strong documents, standing over 2 centuries of time, and yet a court can discover these. We really should back up and say, and stand on the issue of, no, this should be about strict construction of what's taking place. And this is a very, very important key fight to have. With that, I would like to yield the floor. There's several other people that would seek to speak.
Mr. President.
The senator from Pennsylvania.
Mr. President, I just want to take a step back here and go through what we're doing here. What is going on here? What is going on in the United States Senate that is brought about this debate, which has been so important? The what is going on. Now, can we agree on that? Can we agree on what's going on? I think we can. Let me just use the words of, and I would agree with these words, written by John Corzine, the senator from New Jersey, who happens to be the chairman, and that's where, in this capacity, he wrote this, the chairman of the Democratic Senatorial Committee. Senator from South Carolina who's here, the senator from Minnesota who's here. We're talking about this throughout the night. So precedent means, according to the dictionary, having no precedent. What's precedent? An earlier occurrence. An earlier occurrence. So, having no earlier occurrence. What's that mean? It's never happened before.
These are just a fragment of the evidence that has been assembled and sent to me by Glendora. Why won't they allow this person the right to get equal access to our courts? of the United States is supposed to represent freedom and liberty. Unfortunately, they're not allowing a Merry Christmas and a prosperous New Year. Our thoughts and our prayers will be with you. Anyone watching this show who does not realize that so many judges dismissing all of your claims, there can only be one word to describe it: judicial tyranny. They are trying desperately to cover up the criminal misconduct of their associate judges, and they are trying to cover up the conduct that they believe that they can make laws that abridge the rights of our citizens without going through Congress. The tape that you've just watched of the Senate hearings shows how adamant our senators were about not allowing this to happen. We are heading down a terrible road. It's time that the nation wakes up to this. We forgot the rules of civility. And the writings of Thomas Paine. Common sense tells everybody that what is happening in our courts today is unacceptable. And those who adhere to these changes Hey Pat, if I pulled the cassette on that, will that? Yes, God bless America. We have a system where we, the citizens, can correct the injustices of our leadership. So, once again, I ask you to stand by and join us for the show. God bless and have a good day. Yes, God shed His grace on this great nation, and we have a duty as citizens to make sure that this is not destroyed. We give special thanks to the aforementioned people: George E. McDermott, producer, DCTV, Channel 76 TV, Prince George's County, the Maryland Judiciary and the Federal Judiciary, Lee Young and Montgomery County Cable Access TV, and finally, fraudvictim.org. And Victims United Against Fraud and Unjust Treatment in Our Courts. To find out more about this story, you can visit www.fraudvictim.org. The entire story is there for the world to see.
What do we want? Justice! When do we want it? Now! Who are we? Acorn! What do we want? Justice! When do we want it?
From New York, you can visit us in person or order any number of unpleasant experiences by phone. It's Late Night with David Letterman. Tonight, Rob Reiner, cable TV talk show host Glendora, and comedian Rich Neidner, plus Paul Schaefer and the NBC Orchestra. And now, a guy who likes salad as much as the next guy, unless the next guy is named Mr. Giant Bunny, David Letterman.
And as a result, we didn't really have enough time, the fair amount of time to devote to this woman, so she consented to be over on the show tonight, stayed over. Her name is Glendora, and she is here tonight. Tomorrow night. Now, let's just bring out Glendora, shall we? Okay. My next guest believes in using television to spread her own special brand of happiness. She has made over 100 commercials. We have an example of one right here.
Hey, folks. How are you today? Just miserable, right? This is Glendora for delicious Worthington Veggie-Links. Veggie-Links by Worthington, folks, have no cholesterol. Delicious Veggie-Links have fewer calories than regular hot dogs, and Veggie-Links have no preservatives. I have no preservatives either. You see the wrinkles? Get your delicious Veggie-Links at the Glendora Health Nook at...
No need to shop everywhere. Go straight to Twin Fair.
And her show, A Chat with Glendora, has featured guests like Robert C. Wright, the president of NBC. Folks, please welcome the happiness lady, Glendora. Hi, Glendora. How are you? Pleasure to see you. Please have a seat. Where are you from, Glendora? Where does this show take place? Where can people see this?
Oh, the Chat with Glendora?
Yeah.
You can see this on Manhattan Cable TV and Paragon Cable TV, and you can also see it in Westchester, where all the rich people live, United Artists Cable.
And from where does it originate?
Well, of course, we originated at Mr. Wright's office and at Madeline Smithberg's dressing room and at Mr. and the chairman of General Foods and the chairman of Nestle's. We originated in people's offices. Some people come to our home, David.
I see.
The chairman of Colgate Palmolive Pete came to our home.
How do you get all of these people
at 7 a.m.
Yeah. And I guess you were steamed, huh, that he was there so early?
Well, the thing that interested me about him, David, was that he did his own marketing research, and he went through all of our cupboards to see if we had any Colgate Palmolive products.
And what did the research turn up?
Zero.
Zero.
He didn't look under the sink cupboard where he would have found something. He didn't go into the bathroom cupboard. He really would have found something.
Now, tell me about the show. What is the format? When somebody tunes in, what do they see?
They see where were you born, where'd you go to school, what were your jobs, what is your present work like, and what advice would you give a youngster to get started on such a career today?
So it's an interview show primarily?
Yes, that's what we asked Mr. Wright.
Yeah, a half-hour show, is it?
Yes, isn't it amazing what the public will stand?
And is it on once a week?
Yeah, oh yes.
And how many years have you been on the air?
Well, I've been on television 35 years, but that show's been on the air a year and 3/4.
Are you hoping that this particular show will maybe grow, perhaps expand, maybe get to a network status or a local TV station or something?
Well, I sort of doubt that.
You don't think that'll happen? Well, you sure have the wardrobe for it, you know. Now let's take a look. Show me some of the footage. This is Robert Wright, the president now
Lord, yeah.
of NBC. You know, how did you get this guy to be on the show? Because we've asked him for years and years.
Have you?
Now. Oh yeah, and he won't come on the show. How did you get him?
It must be my good looks, huh?
Yeah.
Except I did talk to him over the phone, so that wouldn't have helped. No, I figure this way, David. He's a nice man, and he does want to help the youth, and that's what this is all about.
He wants to help the youth.
Yeah, that's what this problem...
Have we heard anything about that? He wants to help the youth? Paul, did you hear anything about Robert Wright wanting to help the youth of this country?
Robert C. Wright?
Yeah.
Yeah, he wants to help the youth.
I think he just... I think he's just looking to balloon the stock prices. I think that's about all we're into here.
No, he's a very nice
Very
man.
nice man. All right, now let's take a look at a couple of seconds from his interview on your show, okay?
Okay, chat with
We have that
Glendora.
here? Yeah. Robert C. Wright and Glendora, helping the youth. It is a chat with Glendora.
And then we got General Electric acquired RCA, and then I came over from General Electric to become the president of NBC, and that's how I got here.
Oh, it's such an interesting career. And that's how you ended up in Fairfield, because I think General Electric's cable was centered in Fairfield, wasn't it?
Yes, I actually never worked in Fairfield.
Oh, you never did?
No, I've worked, most recently my office was in Stamford, Connecticut before I came here.
Oh.
Although I live in that area, but I didn't work there.
I see, yeah. This is Mr. Robert C. Wright, who is the president and chief executive officer of NBC, and he'll be back in just a second and tell you what his work is like to see if you'd like to aim for that as a career, and then he'll also give you some ideas how to get started in broadcasting in today's world.
Yeah. It seems like you and he were dressed alike. Didn't he? You sort of have the same kind of look there. Now, I don't want to linger on this, but how did General Electric's acquisition of RCA, how did that ultimately help the youth of this country?
What helped the youth was Mr. Wright telling how he got started, because he was at the same point. Yeah, he was at the same point in his development as the youth who watch the program. We hope are in theirs.
I see. Now tell me about your personal recipe for happiness. You're known as the happiness lady.
Well,
is that what they say?
No.
What do they call you?
Glendora.
Yeah.
And what did you say your name was?
I'm Dave. It'll be my last night.
You are a very good interviewer.
Well, thank you.
And I'm going to recommend you for a raise.
Thank you.
The recipe for happiness, David, is that there's one thing in this world that you can do better than anybody else. And if you will go by yourself, you will find out what that is. And you will do it, and you'll be happy. Now, if you don't do it, David, it's going to nag at you every second of your life.
So you find out what it is that you're good at.
No, the one thing that you can do better than anybody else.
The one thing you can do better than anyone else, and you just concentrate on that.
Yes, you do.
And then that'll make you happy.
Well, sure, because you'll get everything you want.
Yeah. And the Vegilinks, vegetable protein, no meat at all in here, right?
No meat.
Okay. All right. Well, geez, Glendora, good luck with the show.
Oh, thank you very much.
And I hope you can come back and see us again sometime.
Oh, we'd like to very much. Would that take 2 days or just one the next time?
I don't know. Oh, that's right. You were supposed to be here last night. Okay. We have to go here now. We have other guests. But thank you very much. Nice to see you.
Universal, the studio that...
So the official title is what, please?
U.S. District Judge.
U.S. District Judge.
Southern District of New York.
Southern District of New York. Judge, you were born where?
Well, I was born in the city, but I've
You were?
actually been a lifelong resident of Westchester County.
You were really?
Yes.
Yeah, that's nice. You went to school here?
I did,
Uh-huh.
and also attended New York Military Academy.
Oh, you did? Is that a good background for almost anything?
I would think so.
Really?
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
Very good. You might bear that in mind, boys and girls, that would be a good background. And then you went off to college?
Went to Providence College.
Yes.
And then to Albany Law School.
Albany Law School. And then after you passed your bar and everything, where did you, what was your first assignment, or were you a...
I practiced in the city with a large firm for a very short period.
Yes.
And then left and came back to Westchester County and spent my entire professional life in Westchester County in the 9th Judicial District, some of that time in the state court. And last June, I went into the federal court in Manhattan again.
Yes, but it was such an interesting progression. Now, what was the first one?
The first court?
First court, yes.
Well, after 12 years of practicing law,
Yes.
I went to the family court.
The family court in Westchester County?
In Westchester County.
I see.
Served there for 3 years.
Yes.
And then went on to the Westchester County Court.
Westchester County Court.
That's a court that tries criminal cases primarily.
Yes.
Spent 4 years in the county court.
In the county court.
And then was elected to the New York State Supreme Court.
Oh.
And I served there for approximately 7 years.
What an interesting career.
Well, it's been a lot of fun.
Now, that's the New York Supreme Court, but that would be in Westchester County.
9th Judicial District, which includes Westchester County.
Oh, it includes it.
Rockland, Orange, Dutchess,
Ooh.
Putnam, and I guess I included them all.
I think
the 5
so.
counties.
Yeah, Rockland, Orange, Putnam,
Dutchess,
Westchester, and Dutchess.
and Dutchess.
Boy, that's a big district, isn't it?
Well, it was a lot of fun traveling around the different courthouses.
You enjoyed
and
that, yeah?
I did. I enjoyed it very much. You felt somewhat analogous to Abe Lincoln when he was a circuit
yeah,
rider.
when he was a circuit rider, right. And then you were appointed.
Well, then I received a telephone call from the president. It happened to be on my mother's birthday.
Really?
And he told me that he was going to nominate me to the federal bench, the district court.
Ooh.
And by coincidence, my mother was present in my chambers when I received the call. And he asked to speak with her and wished her a happy birthday.
Did
I thought
he
that was
really?
really nice.
President Ronald Reagan?
Yes, yes, he did.
Isn't that
And
a
she
thrill?
instantly became a hit with the senior citizens in Pelham, where she lives.
I bet she did,
She
right?
did.
Oh, isn't that a thrill? So there you were, and here came a call from the president.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's a big thrill. And your mom was a big hit with him, huh?
That's correct.
Yeah. Now, when's your mom's birthday? When was that?
Well, it was on January 18th, and it was a year ago,
Yeah.
this past
Oh, I
January.
bet she was thrilled.
She was.
I
She
bet
was
she was thrilled.
indeed.
Well, you know, my mom met Ronald Reagan.
Did she?
Yes, she did,
Where?
really. In Buffalo, New York. He came there, boys and girls, to run for president to get the Republican nomination, and it was the first time. It was, how did that go now? He ran for it, and then who won? Ford.
Well, that was the nomination, I think.
Yeah.
This was
that
in the primaries.
It was,
you're
it
talking
was
about.
that,
Mhm.
yeah. And then Ford got it, and then he came back again. Yeah. Oh, it's a thrill to meet the president, I tell you. Judge Duranko, could you tell the boys and girls what your work consists of in the Southern District?
Well, my work consists of meeting with lawyers and attempting to
Yeah.
resolve conflicts between litigants,
Yes.
hearing cases, helping to select juries and charging the jury as to the law that applies in a given case, and in a real sense of trying to resolve grievances between people.
Yes.